So back home, and I am folding laundry. Yes, school principals do fold laundry. We don't all have laundry and dry cleaning services. I do, but since I moved into this new apartment, I have a washer and dryer right here, and I don't know why. I mean, I had a washer and dryer at the house, but um, all of a sudden I am super inclined to do laundry. It's convenient. I have a full-size washer and dryer, and it's just easy. I just put the stuff that I need to wash in the washing machine, and then I put them in the dryer, and then I pull them out, and I fold them. And the thing is this, being the oldest of five growing up, I used to fold a lot of laundry, do a lot of laundry as well. So my parents, my siblings, and mine, I got pretty proficient doing laundry pretty early on. I mean, there was definitely some accidents, stuff that were over bleached, things that I figured out on my own, many scoldings for doing laundry incorrectly. But also, I also learned to be proficient ironing and things of that nature. So, yeah, I am pretty domesticated. But yeah, but that's not why I'm making this video. Right now, I am sitting here in my living room, like I said, folding laundry. And I did a video earlier today about how getting fired helped me figure out my purpose. No, I think I knew my purpose pretty early on, but getting there was the issue. And getting fired literally catapulted me to where I needed to be. Because like Jonah and the whale, I thought that I was supposed to be somewhere else rather than where I was supposed to be. And you know, Jonah was supposed to be in one place. The whale gobbled him up as per God's command and dumped him back exactly where he was supposed to be. You know, you can't, no matter how much you want to supersede the will of destiny, God, whatever you want to call him, you can't win that fight. At the end of the day, you'll be exactly where you need to be. But, however, as I was telling that story, I did mention that I believe I would do a story about what transpired that led me to leave New York to begin with in 2013 to venture off to the West, to Nevada, to seeking fortune as a school principal. And I've told the story before, but hey, you know what? For you to go find, if you've never heard the story before, for you to go find it will be definitely a task in the hodgepodge of all the videos I've made. They're so varied in topics that I don't have a niche. So people tell me like your channel is hard to figure out, but that's the problem. You're trying to figure out a human being. You will never figure me out. However, I'll help you out and tell the story all over again. So I'm going to fast forward to 2008. I was at a school in the Bronx on Jerome Avenue, MS 331. Yeah, 331. And the principal at the time, he became a Con Fellow. Con Fellow is a fellowship that at that point in time was housed at Columbia University Teachers College. It was really about, the support of distinguished principals in New York City. And the alumni of that list are pretty intensive. Includes, I believe, at this point, two former chancellors are part of, two former New York City chancellors, heads of New York City schools, are part of this cohort of leaders that have been selected to be mentored and supported towards really enhancing their leadership. They're already excellent. Now it's time to become distinguished. So my principal at the time became a member of the 08 cohort. And part of the program, which I think is amazing, is that not only are you being developed at Teachers College, as far as your leadership is concerned, but you're also asked to identify an ally, someone on your team or someone adjacent to you that you can mentor during your time through this program. My principal, John, an amazing man, picked me. I was confused. I don't know why he picked me, because at that time I was just a dean I was a third-year dean in New York City schools, a third-year member of the profession. I was a baby. Year 3, when he said, "I want you to be my ally," and I thought it was a trick, a joke. Look at this. Definitely not my shirt. I mean, the design is dope. It's Gap, but I'm not that thin yet. No, it's my son's shirt. I won't lie. I love doing my kids' laundry. I love folding it. Just something about that whole experience of doing their clothes that's pretty awesome, and it takes me back to my younger days. But yeah. Fast forward. He became a compo then, and during that year, he was also an executive principal and we were in District 10, yes, over by Yankee Stadium, Bronx College Academy. He became a principal there. It was a turnaround. It was my first turnaround situation and he was asked me to be part of his team during that time frame. And so that was 2008. To go to school, it was supposed to be closed down. We kept the school open. The school was doing pretty darn well. We had a good ride. We turned the school around. We got recognized as one of the most schools in New York City. By this time, 2011, I'm in my 6th year, and the fellowship had been done a couple of years. I went on to attend Columbia University's Summer Principals Academy, and I finished. That would have been on 09, 10. I was done, I believe, in 10. Got my master's in school leadership. By 11, I was finally got appointed as assistant principal. Back then, you could literally move into principalship pretty quickly. I know people who went from classroom teachers to principals literally overnight. Some of them did it after 3 years of being in the classroom. The key was find talent and move them up. New York City was desperate and just needed strong leaders, no matter how novice they were. But at this point in time, I'd been in some level of leadership from 05. 05, I was a dean. By 11, I became principal. That means I had 6 years in some other leadership or quasi-leadership role. Then only that I had done the fellowship as a con ally. Then I also done Summer Principals Academy, which I graduated, got my master's in school leadership. So by 11, my principal decided he was ready to move on. And I was told by everyone in your mama that you were next. He told me this. Leadership in at that point in time, the network and the district told me the same thing. And went through the process that summer of doing hiring. And then like that, I was told to do interviews for potentially my replacement as assistant principal as I moved into the principalship. Did all of that, and guess what? Giant donut, giant goose egg. It didn't happen. And someone else was put in that position. And I was like, okay. But the thing was this. In 08, 09, when 08, 09, when I got to that particular school, those kids, that school that I told you that was a turnaround school that went through a lot of stuff, that my principal took me with him to, he was an executive principal. That school had gone through a lot of things. Those kids had gone through a lot of leadership, a lot of change, and we probably brought them stability. And this school was supposed to be a 6 to 12. It was in its third year. It was going to its third year, which meant the initial class were now 8th graders. They still had 4 more years to go. By 11, they were finishing their sophomore year. So a lot of them were just like this change, this transition was very public. A lot of them were nervous, like, man, like things have been good for so long. Parents were nervous as well. What does this mean with the principal leaving? And the point of stability was that I was going to be the one taking over, which the parents were happy with, the kids were happy with. But then what happened was that summer of 11, it was like, after being told that you're the one and this is what's going to happen, all of a sudden at the 11th hour, nope, we changed our minds. And somebody else was brought in. And this person had actually applied to be the assistant principal. And I know this for a fact because I was there and I had their resume in my hand. But I was told because I didn't speak Spanish, that the parents, they wanted something, there was somebody who was bilingual for their families, which I knew at that point in time didn't make any sense, but I had already been there for years. And yes, I don't speak Spanish, but however, non-English speaking families, I thrived with them, they thrived with me. I knew how to support them. Because at the end of the day, it's not about language. It's about intention. It's about making sure that you're doing what needs to be done for their children, which I believe I was doing. I believe myself and the team were doing, and the principal, previous principal for a number of years at this point in time. But then the role was pulled from under my feet, and opportunities came up for me to leave, but I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't leave because for the first time in my career up until that point, I had bonded with the community, parents and kids. It was the first time that I knew that I could not break a promise of staying, at least until that first class graduated. So I stayed. And I stayed. The new principal came in, and I was like, it is what it is. This is the choice that the system made. I'm not gonna be mad about it. I'm gonna still stay and keep to my promise of supporting these children who them and your parents said, we need you to stay, at least to get this class through to graduation. So I stayed. What ended up happening was, it ended up being 2 years, from 2011, and I finally left in 2013. And that was the graduation year of that particular class. So check this out. First year wasn't too bad. Second year, things got kind of a little crazy, and I was like, yeah, I can't stay here. And at this point, it wasn't like my ego. It wasn't like, oh, I didn't get picked, so I don't want to be here. It just didn't feel good. And I felt like I was being treated pretty poorly. But not only that, I also felt like, to my face, people were being brought in with the intention of replacing me. So I was like, what am I doing here? Because at that point in time, I knew for a fact that I was the cornerstone of the culture of the school. My presence was what kept things calm. And I was like, so how do I take me into a place where I am fully invested in the space that I am being seen and treated well and respected by my superiors in doing the work of maintaining a school? I know what I just said was convoluted, but I just felt like I was being shit on by the leadership at that point in time. I was being underlooked. I was being disrespected, and I was just tired. And at that point in time, I said, you know what? I've been here not longer than I've ever been in any school. But I think up until that time, it's 5 years. That's as long as I've been in any particular school. And not because I like to jump ship. It's just that I do my job and then I'm called to another community that needs me. That's been my stance over the course of my career. And the time came that last year, and I was debating, because now you tell one class I want to be till you graduate. What about the next class? And the class after that? I had built so much bond and love and adoration mutually with all these different classes of students. The seniors, the juniors, the sophomores, all the way into the middle schoolers, their parents as well. So here I am, and I'm like, okay, this is the class I promised that I would stay all the way through. And I'll be honest with you, I decided pretty much I was going to stay as long as it took, even beyond their graduation. But things just got toxic and bad. And let me tell you how I knew I had to leave. But this time I had applied to Las Vegas because I like to make sure that I have an exit plan, no matter what. And job offer came, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to rescind this job offer. But I'll tell you what made me say yes finally. Graduation time was coming around for this class, 2013. This was the first graduating class of this school. And a lot of things were agreed upon. Like, the kids were like, this is what we want. Salutatorian speech, our valedictorian speech, we want to be sent off by this person. And they were like, we want Mr. Njoku to speak. He's been with us for a long time. He's been with us through the dark times and into the good times. We want him to speak. It was agreed upon. It was in the program. I saw the pre-program that was printed. My name was there. And I was honored. I looked at them and I was like, thank you. Thank you for giving me this honor of speaking to this class. These kids I had known since they were in the 8th grade. Here they are, seniors. And I saw it. I prepared my speech. And I was like, okay, this is going to be good. Because again, this is grace being given to me. And I was filled with gratitude. It wasn't until maybe like second to last practice, walkthrough of graduation, they distributed the programs. I looked in there and I was like, I'm not in this program. What's going on here? After I'd seen the previous program where I was in, and I didn't say anything. I kind of knew in my gut what was happening. But the students were like, wait a minute, what's going on? Where's Mr. Njoku at? And they were not happy. But they were the ones who made the request. I never made the request to speak. They made the request. So what ended up happening was they had an uproar. And they wanted to protest. And I pushed back against that. I was like, listen, let's not do that. This is about you and your families. And the principal already said very clearly, the program was running too long. We had to get some things. And, unfortunately, a traditional graduation program does not include a situation like Mr. Njoku speaking. Because we already have our keynote speaker and all that other stuff. So I was like, it is what it is. But I also knew that this was being done out of spite, but not a problem. Then until it happened. Graduation comes, 2013, and the program was going on, sitting on stage with the administrative team and the key community members on stage doing graduation. And I'm still in full Dean/AP mode, making sure everything's going well. Because again, this is a tremendous opportunity, a tremendous moment in the history of the school, the first graduation of its students. The valedictorian goes up to speak. She was valedictorian, and she gives an amazing speech, really dope speech. But then I also noticed that the speech was a little bit shorter than had been practiced. Then she's like, okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. It was the salutatorian first. Short speech, and Ian is a funny character back there. He was an amazing young man, funny character. And I love the sense of humor. And he did something that I don't completely remember, but I just remember his speech was like super fast and not what he had presented. And then after he was done, I might be flipping this backwards. He handed it. No, I'm sorry. Let me go back. The valedictorian spoke first, Mena. She spoke first. She did a speech. She had time, but I noticed her speech was too short, and she passed it to Ian for the salutatorian speech. He had a speech, but it was super cut short. Then he's like, okay, we have extra time. He's saying this to the families during graduation. We have to give the time to Mr. Njoku. And when I say I was shocked, like, for someone who came into a school community that was struggling and they were trying to close down, we kept the school open. And the team that came in there, no one was left except for me. Then I stayed for another 2 years, and that turned out an amazing opportunity to be an assistant principal at a school that ended up being one of the top schools in New York City, and opening another site in Brooklyn that I know for a fact if I had taken that job, I'd have led that school and arguably have one of the best schools in the country. I mean, hindsight is 2020, and I knew there was something great about that opportunity, but I chose to stay because I made a promise to these young people that I'll be there until their graduation. And then to go through what I went through for 2 years of just being disrespected, and to have these amazing students plot and plan a takeover graduation so I can have a few minutes to speak. listen, I cried for the first time in public as an adult. I was at my uncle's funeral. I was on stage boo-hooing because the love and respect I was given was something that was so tremendous that even the adults that I work with, the staff that I work with couldn't give me. That sealed the deal for me. Not only were they graduating, I was graduating. I knew that at this point in time I was out. There's nothing that could be done at this point in time. I'm sayonara. And technically speaking, I wasn't fired, but I was looked over in ways that was just so disrespectful. And it wasn't even about becoming a principal. It was just the work and the ethic I put into the work ethic that I had, and the time and energy and the work that I put in to the school. And to be treated like that was just so disrespectful and so wrong. And that's what happened. So that's the story about what finally said, you know what, I had to leave. You know, if I had any doubt about leaving, that was completely shut down through that experience. And then I left. I went to Nevada, and the previous video tells you what ended up happening, because I left one situation hoping something better, but the next situation wasn't necessarily worse, but had a worse outcome, because I was fired at my next position, which brought me back to New York City. Yeah. And when I came back to New York City, I came back to the same school that I had left, because things were not the same after I had left. And as I got fired from the position in Nevada, the opportunity in New York from where I left was still there a year later. And I needed the money. I needed something. So I went back there, and it turned into months of additional abuse, being punished for leaving in the first place. And from there, the purpose of my existence, of my work, came into fruition. If you want to hear that story from what happened from when I returned to New York and what led me to becoming a principal, go ahead and ask for it in the comments, and I'll do it. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Be well. Uche Joku, Sneaker Principal. Thank you for joining me for folding laundry and telling you this story. All right, y'all. Thanks.